Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to another review for Halloween month, and back to reviewing the Final Destination franchise. And now again to what many consider probably the best one of the series, and which I would agree with because I think this is the best one of the series to me, and probably to a lot of people as well who like this. Even people are don't like the more of the fourth or third one though, but many people consider this one the best one of the franchise. So, in many ways, I would agree. So now reviewing on to the sequel, Final Destination 2, released in 2003, and but it was three years later. But in the film, it takes place a year after the first film. But Final Destination 2, directed by David R. Ellis, which originally I reviewed Snakes on a Plane not that long ago, and sadly he passed away some time ago, which sucks though because I enjoy Snakes on a Plane. I like this film, but then he came back to go and direct the fourth one, The Final Destination, which to me that's the worst one of the franchise though. But every director has a misstep, eventually. But he directed the 2 and 4, our Final Destination. Like I said, he directed Snakes on a Plane, which I enjoy. Cellular with Kim Basinger, Chris Evans, Jason Statham, William H Macy. I enjoy that film. I think it's an underrated thriller. Then the last one we directed was Shark Night, which I was not a fan of either, sadly though. But that was his last film before he passed away. But as like I said, his directorial debut, he directed Homeward Bound 2, Lost in San Francisco, and I enjoy that sequel. But he was also mostly he had a hand in directing the action sequences in a lot of the movies. Which I can see right here because, especially for the opening premonition, you can definitely see why. And the film was basically received better than the first film was. I mean, on Rotten Tomatoes, the first one received a 35%. This received a 48%. So this received better ratings. Well, IMDb, the first one was 6.7. This is 6.2, but. People consider this is considered better or a step up than the first film, but especially with the opening premonition, which I have always loved and enjoyed. But get into that then in a second when we're introduced with our characters. Our lead this time our lead is a girl by the name of Kimberly, played by A.J. Cook, which she didn't go on to do much. I mean, she's been in some other films. Well, she was in Wishmaster 3, which was not a fan of. But she was in the Mother's Day 2010 film. Other films I was not too familiar with. And not much on TV shows as well. Well, I remember she was in an episode of Goosebumps, in the episode Don't Wake the Mummy. And then I guess she's mostly known for starring in the show of Criminal Minds. She had one of the main roles in that show as well, but I was not too familiar with her though. But I thought I thought she was fine in this. Although the thing with the Final Destination, with all the film series, is sometimes you also mostly don't know about the characters, and for the most part you don't care about them. Well, I think it's mainly for the first two films. I thought gets somewhat for the characters, but as for 3, 4, and 5, for the most part, I mostly didn't care about the characters, especially when it came to 3, 4, and 5. Well, definitely 4 because there's no way about it. But get to that in the next in that review though. But I thought A.J. Cook, I thought she did fine. Then you have Michael Landis as the character Thomas. He's a cop. But I'll get to their characters, but those are your two main leads. And then Larter comes back as Claire Rivers from the first film. And of course, well, they were going to have Devasawa come back though, but what was the reason they wanted him to come back? Because I think it was the contracts with New Line Cinema, I think they were referring to. I just want to get that looked up on. Just looking, I'm looking up on. Yeah, he was going to reprise as well as Alex Browning in this film, but a dispute concerning his contract with New Line Cinema, that's what I was mentioning, cannot be settled. So in the film, they imply... because in the film, where AJ Cook was visiting Ally Larter in the institution, Ally Larter tells her that shows the newspaper picture that he was killed by a falling brick. So, I guess that did a dispute of New Line Cinema, so I guess he couldn't come back, so they decided just to kill him off, though. Off screen. Just to say he got killed by a falling brick. But as I said, but even though they didn't come back, but it implies inclination that even though our two characters that survived at the end of the first film, although you mentioned about the original ending though, but still, even if they survived, they would still get killed off anyway. Because, like I said, it's like no matter, it's like it kind of defeats the purpose, makes their survival pointless because it's no matter what you do, it's like you can't cheat death no matter what. So no matter how many times you try to survive or try to outsmart the design that the death has planned out, you can't outrun the death no matter what. So it kind of defeats a bit of the suspense of that because hey, they survived, they beat death, but I guess it goes to the same form. Like just no matter if you do survive, it doesn't matter anymore. So that kind of defeats the purpose on that though. But yeah, I'm just saying though, it just makes it kind of pointless. But anyway, in the story, that Kimberly, she's going on the trip with her friends, and to get on the highway, which like I said, it's a year after the incident of Flight 180, and you see she's looking at it, there's all these little signs hinting that something's gonna happen. You know, like when it passed by kids holding these two toy cars, you know, crashing into each other, or the rivers on a sign of 180, you know, hence of Flight 180, and it's like those once again, it's like those little hints that it's something's gonna happen. And which the opening premonition of the highway premonition, which make it sure is the best premonition of the franchise, which I would agree with, because the opening premonition of all the car crashes, the crashing on the highway, I thought was just really, really well done. Because David Arliss, he's known for doing some practical stuff, though. Although there is CG enhancements. But for the most part, it looked like it was done practically, like when the cars are flipping around, and especially when it happens when one of the logs fall off. Which this is an instance because they were going to do with real logs, but they couldn't get it to bounce, so they had to make those logs CGI when it's falling off the truck. But for the most part, like when especially it goes to Michael Landis's He's driving in front of the truck. He's a cop, right? And the log just goes right through him, right into the back of his cop car, and just like bloody bits. But at least most of that was done practically with the car being smashed and all that. And just because there's the chain of reaction where all the characters who are dying in the premonition, like with one character named Rory, his car, played by Jonathan Cherry, which he would later star in the Uwe Ball's House of the Dead movie. Like he flips in his car a lot of times, and then he gets smashed by a garbage truck. His car just smashed to nothing. Or a character, but anyway, I think her name was Kat. Her driving her car, she hits a log and her car flips over. And then a mother and son by the name of Nora and Tim. They hit one, and their car explodes, and then one guy by the name of Eugene, he's on a motorcycle. He slides on the road, and he gets crushed by his own motorcycle. And then with Evan, he hits the gas. He hits one of the tankers on the log truck, and he's burning up. And then he gets hit by another truck. And with Kim and her friends, they flip over as well, and she sees the guy Evan burning up when he gets hit by the truck and is coming at them. Then that's when they get hit, and that's when she has her premonition. But the whole premonition, which it says is probably, people say is regarded as one of the best car crashes in film history, which it has to be one of the top. It has to be one of the top lists of the car crashes. Especially all that and seeing the work that was well put together, whether it was done practically, and yes, with some CG enhancements as well. But I thought the whole highway crash premonition I thought was really enjoyable and fun to watch. So yeah, I think it is the best premonition of this franchise. I do think, and I'm sure a lot of people who are fans of this probably would agree as well. But so she as out of her premonition, she blocks the highway, all the survivors from being hit, and then the cop pulls her out of the way at the last second when the truck smashes her car and kills her friends that are in the car as well. So her friends die when they get hit by the car, but Michael Landis pulls her out of the way at the last second. So, and then we're at the station, they explain how she had the premonition, and then of course they bring up the reference of the first film when with Devon Sawa's character, when he had the premonition of the plane crashing, blowing up. And explain what happened to the remaining survivors, and ones that think it's nonsense, but Kim knows. And then, so the first one to go was the guy named Evan, which the guy, I recognize the guy. He was an AVP Requiem. He was the asshole who had the girlfriend to the guy that she liked. Well, that he liked, but she was with the asshole anyway, with his friends. And where later on in AVP Requiem, when in one of the stores, when he was on the floor and the alien gets shot at and the acid drips on his face. That's the guy who was later go star in AVP R. But he's a guy he was a lotto. He won the lottery. He won all this stuff, and of course we get the permission of death being there. Like, he has a leftover box of Chinese food, like a magnet falls into it, and he puts it in the microwave but causes it to explode. And which, of course, if it proceeds his fatal death, because on the magnets, a letter H magnet falls in the food, but the remaining magnets spell out I, as in his eye, which later comes to his death. It precedes his death, foreshadows his death. Like, and then when he puts some stuff on the stove, it catches fire. When he drops his ring in the garbage disposal, which he gets stuck there. But he manages to get out safely, and later when he tries to get down on the ladder, he falls down. He slips and falls on the spaghetti he threw out. But even though, like, he's fallen down on the ground, he could have, like, and it's right, the ladder's right, just right in his face. Like, he just, like, of course, like, being like the idiot, he's like, okay, should you just move out of the way in case it falls on you? But no, he sits there for the last seconds like a dumbass, to just like, oh, that was close, But then, of course, surprise, gets him right in the eye, like that magnet on the fridge saw coming. Yeah, but it's like, couldn't he just move out of the way so that it's not right on him, so he's not right underneath it? And then, And then the next one to go is the with the mother and son. The son, he's at his dentist, which he's on some Novocaine, and thinks something falls into his mouth, but he makes it out though. But as soon as he go, because Kim saw this coming, like just like when the first film, when Devon saw when he saw the bus reflecting from the window, and he turns around, it's not there. Kim does like the same thing where in the reflection of a window, she sees pigeons, but it's not really there though. So it's like foreshadowing another death coming up. And when Tim goes like shoot some pigeons, chase some pigeons off, but it causes a domino effect where some workers are pulling up this big plain glass window and just falls right on top of him and just totally crushes the boy. Like, he just bends him. He looks up and just like totally bends him backwards as soon as it falls down on him. Really, I thought it was a cool looking death, and I'll probably buy if a plain glass window would fall through from that high. I bet it would crush you like that. And like I said, David R. Ellis, he's known for doing like some stuff he does practically, which I thought was well done. To me, that looked like it was a real dummy that fell on top of when the window falls on top. It looked like it was a dummy underneath. And then they were buying all the stuff is real when Ali Larter comes back when Kim goes to visit her because she made herself get locked up in the institutions where she can be safe and not harmed. Like when the nurse tells Kim like you can't have any this and that and any sharp objects. Which is quite funny that the institution that she's in, but this is 2003, like the previous year in 2002, that's like the same. That's the same mental institution that we see in Halloween Resurrection. Like when it shows the opening, the outside of the building of the institution, that's the same institution that we saw in Halloween Resurrection. Funny. Which honestly, I think Halloween Resurrection is better than the sequels. Like definitely better than 3. Definitely better than 4. So, but it's just funny. That's the same institution from Halloween Resurrection. So, but she goes to see Ali Larter, tells her about what's happening with her, with the permission she had, and she goes and tells her about death and how it's designed, and saying that it's working backwards. You know, how it was killing. At first, it was killing the people in order. Now it's killing the order backwards, starting with Evans, as he would die before she died. For in her permission before she died, it was Evan who died first, and it's working its way backwards. She refuses to help him, explaining what happened to Alex. You know, Devon Sawa's character. Which I thought was kind of dumb, though, but she eventually goes and comes and helps anyway. She gathers everyone in an apartment and tell them we should until we all figure this out. But the mother who about her son, she doesn't want to listen. So, and same with the guy Eugene, played by was it TC? What was it? Oh, and then before that, before they gathered there, Ali Larter, Michael Landis, and AJ Cook go back to the mortician. Well, Ali Larter does, and they go back to see Tony Todd once again. And Tony Todd coming back, and was of course when he comes out of the thing, where the body is in the morgue is, it's all red, and he comes out saying, "Hello, Claire." Of course, like Tony Todd delivering that presence that he has of his. And so yeah, it was cool to see Tony Todd come back, and tells him about the next thing, how to beat death is give new life. Saying that only new life can defeat death, because there was a pregnant woman also on the highway that didn't die on that highway. Was a pregnant woman, and they're declaring that she's the one who can save them. Bring the baby into the world to probably can defeat death. And the quite funny is that, like I said before, the thing that Tony Todd fans have been saying for a long time, that Tony Todd, he is death himself. Because they're saying how he is death himself, because like in the first film, saying saying that I'll see you soon. Or another line that he says like beware of the risk of cheating the plan, disrespecting the design, could initiate a horrifying fury that would terrorize even the Grim Reaper, and you don't even want to fuck with that Mac Daddy. I mean, Tony Todd, he even it's cool seeing him back, come back, but probably say he gives how he just gives that, because probably because how we, his voice gives off that really, I would say eerie or creepy tone. Yeah, I would say creepy tone of his. He gives off like that impending threat that he gives to the characters, and it's about cheating death and all that. But yeah, but I was saying how saying he's death himself because like he mentioned like I'll see you soon. But also a funny thing is you pay if fans of this franchise like pay attention to all the hints, like we talked with Ali Larter and it's like saying to her like such fire in you. Which that later proceeds to to Claire's death because she dies in a fiery explosion from fire. So probably he is death after all because he gave like another future death. So yeah, but it was cool to see him come back, but probably less screen time. Well, he was only there for that one scene though in the first one, but still. But he still did a good job as well, Tony Todd. So they said in order to defeat death is have bring new life to defeat death, and hence they had to get that pregnant woman who was in the premonition, who did not see die in the vision. Excuse me. But then. Going back with Nora's character, with Nora, about her son, basically doesn't care about what's going on. Jonathan Cherry, or Rory, his character Rory, he falls down. He sees a hint in the closet where some stuff is hinting a shadow, like a man with hooks. So when Eugene, Nora, and this old guy with prosthetic hands with hooks. She panics and she gets her hair caught in the hook, and she gets her head stuck in between the elevator doors, and she gets decapitated. This completely freaks Eugene out. Like he takes Michael Landis's gun, saying, I control my life, I make a decision and all that. So he proceeds to shoot himself. He fires all 6 times, which that was an interesting idea because it gives another idea that you can't kill yourself. It's not your time yet. So he shoots himself 6 times. The cop checks his gun. The bullets are still perfectly fine. No duds, nothing. So I like the idea that you can't kill yourself. You have to do it as you're on death's list. You have to die in the order you go to. So you can't kill yourself before you're the next to go. So, which I like that idea. Which also that took into play. That's another reference that took into play in the 4th one, the Final Destination, with Michael T. Williams' character, where he was gonna hang himself, but it doesn't work because you can't kill yourself though, because that is how it works. So you get another idea of that as well. So, but yeah, but I do like the idea. Saying that you cannot commit suicide. You have to go along with death wants you to. So as they're on the way, they're going to see because the pregnant woman, she's in the hospital, and they're on their way, and they get as they're riding on the way, they get more references like each character was around the time of each character when the character. Each of these characters, they're explained that they're around the time of the characters from the first film when they died. Like with Eugene's character, he's a teacher. He replaced Miss Luden from the first movie when she died, or the character the cop. He said he was at the scene where Sean William Scott was killed. He was picking up his body, where he almost got hit, where his partner saved him, or when Rory, Jonathan Cherry's character, he said he was in Paris, having fun and all that stuff, and he saw the guy, Keira Smith's character, when he got hit by that sign before it cut away. or when our lead girl's character, which he heard about the time when the young kid who supposedly hung himself in the bathroom in the first movie, or the character of Kat when she was on a bus that hit Terry's character from the first movie. The character Terry from the first movie hit by the bus. So they're all around the time of those characters in the first movie's death. So it's in now that the death is tying up loose ends as well. But then they get their car stuck in some stuff, and Rory, he saves his one boy getting hit by a van. Firefighters try to get Kat out of her truck, but they hit the door, and the airbag deploys, and she gets impaled through the head by a piece of pipe that was in her seat. And then Rory, then he gets that was a cool death, that some wires flying at him, and he gets cut to pieces. He gets sliced to pieces. And Eugene, he's taken to the hospital because he got stabbed as well. And while he's at the hospital, all death is coming for him. Like, the air vents close off. His inhaler, where he breathes, is shutting off. But since when the baby was born, they think everything's okay. But all the oxygen in there was being released. Larter comes in to open this door. They both die in a fiery explosion. So like what Todd said, how set up her future death. But AJ Cook, she's been having this vision and seeing of someone drowning in water, which I thought that was the pregnant woman though, but it wasn't. It's her. So she goes and takes the ambulance and drives into the lake, tries to give her life up, but I guess that somehow that succeeds, and I guess apparently she died and then temporarily died and came back. Yeah, but she was revived, and I think that both her and the cop, that all was well, and she's with Kim is with her father, and then with the family of that boy that Rory saved, which the father mentions that, but then all of a sudden when the kid goes over to the barbecue, boom, and then the kid's arm flies right in front of the mother and screams. So, but fortunately, this is what I mean though, because in the first two, the first movie, how we have Ali Larter and Devon Sawa's character, they survive though. But here, when you bring it back for the sequel, they both die. Well, especially Devon Sawa's character died off screen. But you bring him back to die because, like I said, given the inclination that you can't cheat death no matter what, how many times you try to save yourself or try to alternate the design of death's list, and you get and same here with our two characters, because with AJ Cook and Michael Landis' character, you see them they lived in this though, but unfortunately, when you go to the alternate ending of the Final Destination 3, they both die. They end up in a wood chipper, so they died off screen as well. So that's what I mean. I like both. I like the first two Final Destination films, but our surviving characters, it's like I said, no matter what you do, even if you think you beat death, it doesn't matter, because death is going to get you no matter what, no matter how many times you try to beat it. So with Devon Sawa and Ali Larter's character, they think they beat it, but it doesn't matter because they both die. And then with Michael Landis and AJ Cook's character, think that, it was a happy ending where they survived. But then when you get to the next film, you hear about it, and also an alternate ending though, they both died in a wood chipper. So that's what I mean. It kind of defeats the purpose, I know you can't cheat death no matter what, though, but come on, I know it's a film, I know it's all make-believe and all that stuff, though, but yeah, bend the rules a little bit, hey, they survived, they don't have to do this anymore, they don't have to worry about death anymore, but this formula does not apply to that, so it's the same formula, no matter what, everybody dies. It's reminding me of a found footage movie where 9% of the time it's a downbeat ending where everybody dies. Not all the time, because there are found footage I've seen, there are people who do survive. So, but it's 90% of the time where everybody dies. It's always a downbeat ending where there's a twist, whatever. It's reminding me of that though. So it doesn't matter on all 5 of these movies. Even in the first, especially the first 2, the surviving characters, they all die no matter what. I know, and that's a big complaint I have with the first 2. I enjoy the first 2 films. I like the first film. The second film I thought was the best one. It was fun to watch, but I'm just pointing out that, yeah, at least make an exception, like how these characters survive. But like I said, it doesn't matter anyway, because you can't cheat death no matter what. How many times trying to win against it? That's the formula they decided to do. So leaving that matter aside, I enjoy Final Destination 2. I thought to me it's the best one of the franchise, the best film of the franchise. Even though the characters, the most part, yeah, but I mean, AJ Cook, I did not mind. Same with Michael Lannis. I thought they both acted fine. It was cool to see. Yeah, Ali Larter comes back. She did fine as well, before it died though. And it was also cool to see Tony Todd once again. But the other characters, I mean, Jonathan Cherry as Rory, I did not mind him because, even before his death, he was given some stuff to Kim, the character Kim, just saying, hey, before I die, he's like, will it hurt? Here, get this stuff here to my mother. Stuff like, get rid of all my drugs and all that stuff, stuff that'll break my mom's heart. So you have a little moment, before he wants to do a thing, but give a little something before he dies, so you get a little moment like that. But the other characters, I mean, I thought that T.C. Carson. I thought he did fine. Looking up, he didn't film wise or TV wise, he didn't do much. I mean, he voiced a lot of video games, although he voiced Mace Windu in the Star Wars: The Clone Wars series. So he voiced Mace Windu in those series. But I thought he was fine. T.C. Carson, I thought he was fine too, and the other characters, like, for the most part, well, their deaths were cool, like the boy Tim, him getting the falling glass, that was a cool death, and pretty decent gore effect when the mom Nora got decapitated. I did like the idea that when Eugene tries to shoot himself, you can't commit suicide. He has to wait on your time on death's list. So, like I said, a fully operated gun, all the bullets are still fine. You can't commit suicide. You can't do it that way. I did like that. I did like that idea. And then especially and also Rory's death when he gets cut to pieces. That was a cool death too. But then the opening premonition of the highway sequence, I thought was well put together. David R. Ellis, rest in peace. I thought he handled the action scenes very well. For the most part, was practical, having cars being flipped around and some good stunt work as well. And yeah, some CG enhancements. Like I said, they mentioned about the logs. They tried to use real logs, but they couldn't get to bounce, so they had to CGI those logs. But for the one instance where it goes right through the cop car to the character of Bloody Bits, right to the back, that was a good death as well. Yeah, but I loved the highway premonition. I thought that is to many people regards one of the best car crash sequences in film history. I would say. I know that's a bit of a stretch though, but fans enjoy that sequence a lot, so it's considered the best one of the franchise of premonitions. I would agree with that. Yeah, I enjoyed that the premonition. Yeah, so Final Destination 2. I thought some people say it's one of the best ones in the franchise. I would say so. David R. Ellis, rest in peace. He did a good job with this film, but sadly though, when he come back to do the fourth one, the Final Destination, like there were CG enhancements in this, but it was pretty decent though. But the CGI was horrible in the fourth one. I don't know why. But it was just horrible CGI in that film. And the characters I did not care about at all, except for Michael T. Williams' character. He had a little bit of something to his character. But I didn't care about any of the characters in that film, and bad CGI, and to me, it's the worst one of the franchise. And there was other stuff I didn't see practical as well, because everything was done for the 3D effect, because the time 3D. I don't know why. David R. Ellis, if you watched the two, you can see the difference between some good stuff with this and then the stuff in that film. But yeah, I'll get to that when I get to when I review that one though. But here, the Final Destination 2, it was definitely a fun sequel, and I say it's the best one in the franchise. So yeah, but that's my thoughts on that. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the third one, Final Destination 3, later.